Hello, my name is Caroline Parrish, and this is my final project for FRIT 7235. This is a 3-lesson unit that I designed for 3rd graders who are beginning to explore fractions because I currently teach 3rd grade, and I thought this would be something that I could utilize in my instruction. My course is hosted in Canvas. That's my district's LMS system. There's 4 lessons, but the first one is the digital citizenship refresher, just for students to get reminded about how we interact with others online, how we stay safe online. The other 3 lessons are really the meat and potatoes of it. The first lesson, labeling fractions on a number line, that's designed to be a TPAC lesson. My lessons 3 and 4, understanding parts of a whole and comparing fractions, those are going to be more UDL aligned lessons. Okay, let's see. So if I click here, it'll take me right into my modules on Canvas. So you'll see lesson 1, digital citizenship. Students can click on the Nearpod. Go through it. It's got me talking. Okay, so after that, then they can see all of, that might be a bit overwhelming, but you can see all of the requirements for the other lessons. So lesson 2, fractions on a number line, they're first going to come and go to the lesson overview. This is going to give them their learning target and just what they're going to be doing for the day. And I also make sure that I use lots of bold words, highlighting important features, important words, underlining important words so they stand out for the students. So after they looked at this, they're going to come next. Before they go to the assignment, they've got an instructional video, fractions on a number line. It just really goes over. Okay. Then after they've watched the video, they're going to try it themselves. I put a number line tool on here so they can come and they can see from 0 to 1. They can place a half, or they could place 3/4, 1/4, and they can see, oh, 1/2, that's equivalent to 2/4 or 3/6. Just messing around with those equivalent fractions. Once they've gotten familiar with that and they feel comfortable with that, they're going to create their own number lines, whether that is on a piece of paper, on the drawing app. I've labeled the instructions, made sure I, again, made things stand out. And I've put the rubrics so they know exactly what they're looking for. Also, my favorite tool on Canvas, this is the Immersive Reader. It's not just on my students who have accommodations. It's not just on their computers, it's on everyone's computer. Like read write, that is just on my students who have that accommodations device, but Immersive Reader is for everyone, and it will read to them, play it out. It also makes it a lot bigger, so if there's students that might have visual impairments, and then you click on words and it'll give images, illustrations that go along with it. So like line, let's see, fractions. Ooh, and so it gives discussion. It gives them some context to maybe, if something wasn't clear, it can help clear that up for them. So that's really, really cool. After they've done their own assignment, they're going to go to the Padlet discussion board. They're going to share at least one thing they noticed while creating their number line, and then I've already put my What I noticed, just to kind of give, if there's people that might need support or maybe some sentence stems, they can kind of model their answer after me. And then finally, after all of that, they're going to go to the Nearpod, and there's just a little quiz, and it's just matching fractions and fractions on a number line. So once they've done this, it'll send me their score. And that's all for that first lesson. So after that, then it's going to be lesson 2. So they can keep clicking next, or they can go in and out of the module. So same thing, they're going to have learning target, what they're going to be doing. So instead of an instructional video, well, I guess it's going to be an advertisement for this, but it's going to be a read aloud of a math book called Give Me Half. My students really love when I'm able to bring in books into math. So a lot of these math books, it's just talking about how we, you know, make parts of a whole, how we divide things into unit fractions. But I really want them to think about, how do we share? If I'm going to share something with somebody, I'm not just going to give them a little tiny crumb of the cookie. I'm going to be nice and share equally. So after that, then they're going to go, and I have these fraction circles, and these are really cool. So they can see, okay, yeah, there's one whole, or I could break it up into half. You could also okay, ooh, we're getting dicey here. Let's see. You can also mix and match fractions. So seeing, what that would look like. Now for my students that are just now really beginning to get an understanding of fractions, I would not let them mix and match, because this is going to get confusing. But really seeing, okay, if I'm using 1/3, how many pieces of that will I need to make a whole? And they're going to see, oh, you need 3 pieces, right? But after they've tried it themselves, then they're going to have an option to show what they know. I think I was having too much fun with the fraction circle, sorry. They can show their understanding of fractions as parts of a whole. So that they can choose to draw, to build, to say it, which is just, making a video of them explaining in their own words, or writing it. Also have a way they can collaborate with someone, or they can, get feedback from a peer if they would like to. After they've shown what they know, there's a discussion post. How did you show your fraction? What did it represent? Just really, sharing what we've done, sharing our work, sharing our ideas with each other. Then there's going to be a quiz. On quizzes, it's going to say resume attempt, because it only gives each kid one attempt at each quiz. So once they've taken this, then I'll get their score. And then the last lesson, comparing fractions, overview. Okay, so there's not a video. It's going to be a comparing fractions game on Legends of Learning. So here's let's see, and here's like a little preview of what the game looks like. And these are pretty nostalgic. These remind me of the weird computer games we used to play growing up. My students really love these Legends of Learning games. So, it's all over just giving them a visual representation of what we've been talking about. Okay, then they're going to show what they know. So I'm giving them a list of fractions, paired them together, and then I just want them to compare, which one of 1/2 versus 3/4, which one's larger, which one's smaller, greater than, less than. They can choose to draw it, use a number line to show me. They can, again, say it and just explain how they understand or explain how they know. Or they can write it. And then again, there's a rubric. And then the discussion post. This one is not on Padlet. This one is on Canvas. And then choose 2 fractions. Tell us which is greater. And then after that is another little quiz. Okay. So there's a quick run through about 3 days of worth of lesson plans. So my TPAC lesson, that was that first lesson, the comparing or placing fractions on a number line. So they start with watching that video, the instructional video that models the skill. Then they're going to go and interact with the digital tool, the interactive number line, where they're able to see equivalent fractions. Then they're going to create their own number line, whether it's on the computer or on paper, and discuss with others, share what they've learned. I really try to focus on using technology with a purpose. And I think that, not just, oh, cool, we're using the computer just because we spent thousands of dollars to have computers, but really to help students visualize these abstract concepts. And I really did like that interactive number line. That's something that, I couldn't give them in my classroom, just me standing there and womp, womp, womp talking. But, with the digital tools, they're able to really utilize the technology and see, compare those fractions. So my UDL lessons, those were lessons 2 and 3. I made sure that students were able to have multiple ways to learn. So videos, listening to the books, playing games, having the interactive tools, and then also multiple ways to express. Students, they have choices, so how they access the content, and also choices in how they express what they've learned. So that's how those are. That's how those are UDL principle aligned. And then my Myers 12 principles, making sure that it's embedded throughout the course. My videos, I made sure I used short little videos that short and focused, that have the visuals and audio, so students are able to hear someone talking and then see the representation, making sure that the tools and visuals were paired with the instructions, having things be underlined, having things be in bold, putting things in order, not just having a big chunk of text, but really breaking it up so kids can digest and, okay, I've got this, let me move on to the next step. Personalizing it, making it friendly for my kids, not just, clicking on an assignment and it's 3 pages long, just instruction, and you're completely overwhelmed, but digestible little bite-sized chunks where they feel successful and feel capable as they're going along. And then finally, my accessibility. This is extremely important to me, but I touched on the immersive reader in Canvas, but using UDL options for engagement, making sure students feel like they can express what they've learned in a method that is accessible for them and feels right for them. Audio video supports my having closed captioning on the videos, making sure students are able to scaffold, giving examples, having students be able to pair up with a friend. Those visual cues, again, of highlighting, making things stand out for students, the important information. So thank you. If you're still with me, thank you so much for following along, and thank you for your attention.